What's going on, everyone? So we have closed the trading day. It is Monday, and the market didn't do as bad as some people were saying, like that Monday Black Swan event. In fact, we saw a rumor today that moved the market by trillions of dollars. So we're going to look at that in the Qs, and we're going to look at quantum stocks because a lot of the quantum stocks actually ended well in the green today. So that's exciting to see, especially because there's still quite a bit of uncertainty with the tariff situation in the wider market. So today we're going to cover the QQQ, Rigetti, IonQ, and we're going to look at our quantum watch list. So we have a lot to cover. Let's jump right in. All right, guys. So I have the stock heat map pulled up here, and we have a mixed bag today. It was more or less a wash for the total day. Let's jump over and see what the indices did. So the S&P ended at negative 0.23, the Dow at negative 0.91, and the NASDAQ eked out some gains at plus 0.10, with the Russell taking another negative 1%. So we can see that it was mixed even with tech. So Microsoft and Google went different directions. Meta was up 2%. Nvidia had a nice little bounce. I think Nvidia today was in the 80s or something. Are you crazy? 80s? Apple, Amazon, JP Morgan. So a mix. Even Berkshire Hathaway, Berk B was down. So definitely a mixed bag. And let's take a look at our quantum watch list. And we actually see that quantum as a theme did quite well today. When we see that Rigetti led the charge with an 11.07% gain over the day, with IonQs closely behind. ARQQ, one of our favorite cybersecurity plays. Coherent, QBTS, 4%. We just got back from the Qubits 2025 conference last week, and they shared a lot of exciting content in the Qubits 2025 conference. We also see that QUBT had a nice little gain. Another cybersecurity play with Seals Q, Amazon, Google, and the quantum ETF. Some losers for the day were Microsoft, IBM, Intel, Amgen, and Honeywell. So what was crazy about today is if you were watching the market closely, you saw something pretty wild. So if you look at the interview that I did with Gene Inger yesterday, if you just put this on in your headphones, clean your house, do some homework, whatever, this is a 50-minute video and it's a dense conversation, but we talk about a lot of this stuff. And one of the things that we talked about in this conversation was quantum. And we also talked about the QQQ and how it is sold off so sharply. And one of the things that I said in that conversation was people are just starving for some sort of good news. And we saw that this morning when the Twitter rumor came around that 90 days of pause on these tariffs. That didn't happen. It was a rumor. It was fake news in the most literal term. So the market, let's look at the Qs and see how the market responded to this news. So it was pretty fascinating to see in real time. So the market gaps down all the way down to almost 400. And then this tweet or rumor starts circulating that there's going to be a pause on the tariffs. And there's just this explosion of buying. Let's measure this move if we can. If I know how to click my mouse here. All right. So we saw this explosion of 10% in maybe 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. This is trillions and trillions of dollars that flooded into market, flooded into tech, flooded into QQQ. It sold off. And towards the end of the day, we actually ended just slightly in the green. But what a fascinating day. Price action still very choppy. We know that there's a lot going on with Trump announcing the reciprocal tariffs of 50% on China, and investors really didn't like that. And that's where we saw the sharp sell-off. And then also just we're getting mixed. We're getting mixed news. We know that a lot of countries have reached out to the U.S. to negotiate new trade deals. So we're going to see how that all pans out. So let's take a look at Rigetti. And Rigetti gapped down to start the day. And then it had this really crazy rally. We're going to measure that move because if you were trading Rigetti today, if you're a day trader or a swing trader, you had a 26% move, give or take, to open the day from the high sixes to mid eights, which was really crazy to see. And actually, it didn't give much back. If we look at the price action for the rest of the day, it didn't give too much back. So really, there was a nice gain if we go bottom to bottom here. And we know that when Rigetti starts moving, it can move explosively. So let's see so we ended the day kind of in the middle of the MACD, and we're not too overbought or oversold. So can we continue this rally tomorrow? Maybe. So why did these quantum names, you're probably wondering, why did so many quantum names do so well today? Well, there's been a lot of recent news. And if you head over to thequantumbull.com, we actually put out an article on DARPA and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce push to accelerate quantum computing, and just released this article yesterday. And essentially, this article talks about the U.S. government pushing for more quantum computing development and highlighting the urgent need for faster action on quantum technology. The reason for that, we're not the only player in the game. We're not the only country researching quantum computers. So we see that the US government is pushing. Head over to thequantumbull.com/news, read the article. I've also done some coverage on the channel. So I did a video on the US Chamber of Commerce, and I did a separate video on DARPA. You can find those in the article or on the channel. So if you're wanting to do a deeper dive, that information is there. All right, let's take a look at IonQ. And we see very similar. Sometimes when you look at these charts next to each other, you're like, wait, didn't I just see these stocks can move together? Now, why? Some of you might ask, why didn't QBTS move, D-Wave move with Rigetti and IonQ today? Well, the easy answer to that is at the current time, if we go and look at this DARPA QBTS, D-Wave is not on the list of companies that is in the phase one. Now, that might be because QBTS isn't working on gate-based computers and they're working on annealing quantum computers, and DARPA is most interested in gate-based. That's speculation. I've also read online that maybe D-Wave will be included in this. We'll see. We also know that at the Qubits 2025 conference, there has been some discussion that D-Wave is starting their work on the gate-based quantum and their own gate-based quantum computer. So we'll see how that develops. So IonQ moves similarly to QBTS. We measure the move here, and we have a 27% gain. So we gap down to start the day, and then we just rally like crazy. And IonQ has been really beat up. If we go back 6 months, we know that before the quantum crash, this stock was trading at $50 a share. And it is just, in this macro environment, really been suffering and sold off. And it's had an even hard time getting and staying above the quantum crash level, whereas some of the other quantum stocks have held above their quantum crash price. So I would look at this $23 level or so. We closed today. I would look at that as a potential point of resistance and in the future support. So probably about 25.71 is one that has acted as resistance and support. And you know what? I wasn't planning to cover D-Wave, but let's just look at the price action real quick because we have a little bit of time here. So we're going to go to the day chart, and it's very similar, explosive move, sell off. And at the end of the day, I think QBTS saw only, we're going to go back to the quantum watch list, only a 4% gain. But when you look at the wider market, it is nice to see these quantum names are doing well. So is this something that's going to continue? I mean, this is what I've been saying for a while. The technology isn't going to wait for a political view. It's not going to wait for anyone's feelings. It's just going to keep getting better because a lot of smart people are working on quantum computers. So will these stocks reflect that progress, and will it show in the price action? My guess is in 2025, yes, that will be the case. If we're seeing gains in a market like today where there's so much volatility, that is a good sign for the future. So keep quantum names on your watch list. And very soon I will be updating my Quantum 8 watch list. I'll put out a video. My Quantum 8 watch list, I rank the top 8 quantum stocks that I think in the market deserve to be on this list, and they change in their rankings based on just my opinion on what is the best buy. All right, guys, if you found value out of this video, please consider leaving a like or subscribe if you haven't already. Good luck in the market tomorrow.